الرحمن الرحيم نون والقلم وما يسطرون ما أنت بنعمة ربك بمجنون وإن لك لأجرا غير ممنون وإنك لعلى خلق عظيم فستبصر ويبصرون بأيكم المفتون إن ربك هو أعلم بمن ضل عن سبيله وهو أعلم بالمهتدين فلا تطع المكذبين ودوا لو تدهنوا فيدهنون ولا تطع كل حلاف مهين هماز مشاء بنميم مناع للخير معتد أثيم عتل بعد ذلك زنيم أن كان ذا مال وبنين إذا تتلى عليه آياتنا قال أساطير الأولين سنسمه على الخرطوم إنا بلوناهم كما بلونا أصحاب الجنة إذ أقسموا ليصرمنها مصبحين ولا يستثنون فطاف عليها طائف من ربك وهم نائمون فأصبحت كالصريم فتنادوا مصبحين أن اغدوا على حرثكم إن كنتم صارمين فانطلقوا وهم يتخافتون ألا يدخلنها اليوم عليكم مسكين وغدوا على حرد قادرين فلما رأوها قالوا إنا لضالون بل نحن محرومون قال أوسطهم ألم أقل لكم لولا تسبحون قالوا سبحان ربنا إنا كنا ظالمين فأقبل بعضهم على بعض يتلاومون قالوا يا ويلنا إنا كنا طاغين عسى ربنا أن يبدلنا خيرا منها إنا إلى ربنا راغبون كذلك العذاب ولعذاب الآخرة أكبر لو كانوا يعلمون إن للمتقين عند ربهم جنات النعيم أفنجعل المسلمين كالمجرمين ما لكم كيف تحكمون أم لكم كتاب فيه تدرسون إن لكم فيه لما تخيرون أم لكم أيمان علينا بالغة إلى يوم القيامة إن لكم لما تحكمون سلهم أيهم بذلك زعيم أم لهم شركاء فليأتوا بشركائهم إن كانوا صادقين يوم يكشف عن ساق ويدعون إلى السجود فلا يستطيعون خاشعة أبصارهم ترهقهم ذلة وقد كانوا يدعون إلى السجود وهم سالمون فذرني ومن يكذب بهذا الحديث سنستدرجهم من حيث لا يعلمون وأملي لهم إن كيدي متين أم تسألهم أجرا فهم من مغرم مثقلون أم عندهم الغيب فهم يكتبون فاصبر لحكم ربك ولا تكن كصاحب الحوت إذ نادى وهو مكظوم لولا أن تداركه نعمة من ربه لنبذ بالعراء وهو مذموم فاجتباه ربه فجعله من الصالحين وإن يكاد الذين كفروا ليزلقونك بأبصارهم لما سمعوا الذكر ويقولون إنه لمجنون وما هو إلا ذكر للعالمين صدق الله مولانا العلي العظيم صلوات
صلوات ए रात न ढलना के उजड़ जाएगी ज़ैनब भाई से दमे सुबह बिछड़ जाएगी ज़ैनब सोने दे सकीना को के फिर सो ना सकेगी रोना भी जो चाहेगी तो फिर रो ना सकेगी असगर से मुलाकात तो फिर हो ना सकेगी ए रात न ढलना के उजड़ जाएगी ज़ैनब घबराए हुए लाल है सहमी हुई माए जी अकबर को दुआएं लेना है अभी ओनो मोहम्मद की बलाएं। ए रात न ढलना के उजड़ जाएगी ज़ैनब, बाकी है अभी आले मोहम्मद का सफीना। बेटी के सुलाने को है शबीर का सीना। झूला अली असगर का झुलाती है सकीना। ए रात न ढलना के उजड़ जाएगी ज़ैनब, कल कौन सुनेगा ये मेरी आहों पुकाबी। होगा ताहे खंजर मेरे भाई का गला भी। खैमा तो कुजा सर पे ना होगी ये रिदा भी। ए रात न ढलना के उजड़ जाएगी ज़ैनब, भाई से दमे सुबह हो बिछड़ जाएगी ज़ैनब। सलाम।
सलवात। या हुसैन या हुसैन या हुसैन या हुसैन, बेकसी का शह की चर्चा रह गया। 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 मुजरई मेहमान प्यासा रह गया। सब हुए सैलाब तुझसे ए फरात, सब हुए सैलाब तुझसे ए फरात। काफिला यसरब का प्यासा रह गया। मुजरई मेहमान प्यासा रह गया। बेकसी का शह की चर्चा रह गया। ज़ोहर तक सब फौज पहुंची खुद में। ज़ोहर तक जब फौज पहुंची खुल्ग में। साहिबे लश्कर अकेला रह गया। साहिबे लश्कर अकेला रह गया। बेकसी का शह की क्षरिक्षा रह गया। इश्क गए था खुश्क हजरत का गला, इश्क गए था खुश्क हजरत का गला। खंजरे कातिल भी प्यासा रह गया। मुजराई मेहमान प्यासा रह गया। बेकसी का शह की क्षरिक्षा रह गया। डगमगा कर जब गिरे गोरे शीशा, डगमगा कर जब गिरे घोरे शीशा। कांप कर अर्शे मौला रह गया। कांप कर अर्शे मौला रह गया। बेकसी का शह की क्षरिक्षा रह गया। कह की माँ सोए असग़र कब्र में, कह की माँ सोए असग़र कब्र में। हाय खाली उनका झूला रह गया। हाय खाली उनका झूला रह गया। बेकसी का शह की क्षरिक्षा रह गया। मुजराई मेहमान प्यासा रह गया। बेकसी का शह की क्षरिक्षा रह गया। सलावत।
बर मोहम्मद वाले मोहम्मद सलवात। एक बार और मुझे गोद में ले लो बाबा, वाह हुसैना का हुआ शोर हरम में बरपा। हो के रुखसत जो चले घर से शह कर बो बला, कह के ये दौड़ी सकीना के ठहर जाओ ज़रा। शहन बच्ची का जो ये हाल परेशान देखा, रो के फरमाया कि क्या हाल मेरी माँ है लका। जोड़ कर नन्हे से हाथों को सकीना ने कहा, सोचती हूँ कि तमाचे कोई मारे ना मेरे, गोशवारे कोई कानों से उतारे ना मेरे। वहम आते हैं मेरे दिल में न जाने क्या क्या, मैं समझती हूँ कि यूं ही मुझे बहलाते हो। हमेशा के लिए होते हो अब मुझसे जुदा। बाबा सीने से सकीना को लगाते जाओ, अब कहाँ होगी मुलाकात बताते जाओ। क्या खबर तुमसे कोई बात भी अब हो के न हो, कौन जाने के मुलाकात भी अब हो के न हो। दिल धड़कता है मेरा बहरे नबी बहरे खुदा, अपनी आगोश में ए बाबा छुपा लो मुझको। आखिरी बार कलेजे को लगा लो मुझको। जीते जी आहे कहाँ अब तुम्हें पाऊंगी, तुम न आओगे तो ए बाबा बहुत रोऊंगी। किसके सीने पे बता दीजिए फिर सोऊंगी। एक बार और मुझे गोद में ले लो बाबा। पर मोहम्मद वाले मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु
बर मोहम्मद वाले मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु। अपने मज़लूम से बाबा को दो सदा अकबर, अपने मज़लूम से बाबा को दो सदा अकबर। झा गया बाप की आँखों में अंधेरा अकबर। बारहा गिरते हैं शबीर रन में ये कह कर, बारहा गिरते हैं शबीर रन में ये कह कर, बाप का तुम थे ज़ईफ़ी में सहारा अकबर। दरमियाँ लाशों के चलते हैं घुटनियों सरवर, दरमियाँ लाशों के चलते हैं घुटनियों सरवर। और भटका के उन्हें शिम्र के हंसता अकबर। रो पड़ा सब्र का यज़दा भी देख कर उस दम रो पड़ा सब्र का यज़दा भी, देख कर उस दम जब था बर्ची में कलेजा तेरा उलझा अकबर, बाप का क़ल्क़ से कटता है कलेजा, हाय हाय बाप का क़ल्क़ से कटता है कलेजा, हाय हाय एड़ियाँ खाक पे जब जब है रगड़ता अकबर, जिसका मर जाए जवां बेटा वो आकर देखे, जिसका मर जाए जवां बेटा वो आकर देखे, किस तरह बाप के जानू पे है तड़पा अकबर, अपने मजलूम से बाबा को दो सदा अकबर। सलवात।
बहुत से बुलंद सलवात।
पर मोहम्मद वाले मोहम्मद सलवात।
जनाब अली अकबर अलैहिस्सलाम के सलाम और मर्सी की ख्वाहिश की गई है, वही पेश कर रहा हूँ। एक बुलंदतर नारे सलवात। कल 10 मुहर्रम में शायद मुझे मौका ना मिले, लेकिन मैं बहुत मशकूर हूँ यहाँ की इंतज़ामिया और ख़ास तौर पे हमारे इम्तियाज़ भाई और तहसीन आपाका के, उन्होंने मुझे मधु किया। बस एक मर्सी के चंद बंद और सलाम। एक और एक नारे सलवात। परदेस में ज़ैनब खो बैठी 18 बरस के पाले को रोते हैं खड़े सब आले नबी, रोते हैं खड़े सब आले नबी, 18 बरस पाले को अरमान न निकला बानों का है लाश पे नो हाबानों का पाए कहाँ ये कोक जली पाएगी, कहाँ ये कोक जली 18 बरस के बाद दिल थाम के अकबर की मादर सरवर से ये कहती है रोकर खोआ आए कहा नाज़ों से मुरादों से पाला शादी का ज़माना जब आया मैदान में खो कर बैठ गए, मैदान में खो कर बैठ गए 18 बरस के पाले को सलवा। फातिहा। ज़ख्मी सिना से रन में जो शह का पिसर हुआ, हर सेमत से लईन हर एक हमलावर हुआ, तरखून में मुरक़े खैरुल बशर हुआ, आखिर जुदा औकाब से वो, आखिर जुदा औकाब से वो सीबर हुआ। मक्तल में क्या हुजूम था उस नूर ऐन पर, परवाने गिर रहे थे चरागे, परवाने गिर रहे थे चरागे हुसैन पर। हजरत खड़े थे खैमे की थामे हुए तनाब, सुनकर ये गुल रही ना दिल ना तवा को ताब, नागाह आरन से आई सदाए फलक जनाब, बेटा जहाँ से जाता है जल, बेटा जहाँ से जाता है अब आए चिता, लाशे पज मजोर बदफवाल करते हैं घोड़ों से अहले के हमें पामाल करते, घोड़ों से अहले के हमें पामाल करते हैं। नेज़े से किसके लाल का जख्मी हुआ जिगर, करते हैं किसकी लाश को पामाल अहले शर, कहता है कौन रन में तड़प कर पदर पदर। अब घर से मैं निकलती हूँ या सैयदुल बशर, अब घर से मैं निकलती हूँ या
सैयदुल बशर।
वरदाना मुझे से कीजिए, सब जानती हूँ मैं आवाज़ ये, उसी की है पहचानती हूँ मैं। बानों को कसमें दे के चले शाह नामदार, वो प्यास और वो धूप, वो सदमे, वो इस्तरार, दिल था उलट पुलट तो कलेजा था बेकरार। उठते थे और जमीन पा गिरते, उठते थे और जमीन पा गिरते थे बार बार, चिल्लाते थे शबी है पैगंबर हम आते हैं, घबराइयो ना अली अकबर, आऊं किधर को अली अकबर, जवाब चिल्ला रही है जोड़ी पमादर, जवाब दो अकबर बराए खालिक़े अकबर, जवाब दो बेटा, जवाब दो मेरे दिल पर, जवाब बेटा जवाब दो मेरे दिल पर, जवाब दो। गिरते हैं हम सवाब का हाथों से काम लो बेटा, ज़े बाप के बाजू को ताम, दुश्मन को भी न बेटे का लाशा खुदा दिख, दुश्मन को भी न बेटे का लाशा खुदा, हजरा जमी पर गिर के पुकारे के हाय, हजरा जमी पर गिर के पुकारे के हाय, जिंदा रहे ये पीर जवायूं जहाँ से जाए लाल, 3 रोज के फाके में जख्म, लाल 3 रोज के फाके में जख्म था, शायद जिगर के दर्द से तुम बेकरार हो, जख्मी तुम्हारे छाती के बाबान, जख्मी तुम्हारे छाती के बाबान, क्यों खींचते हो पाँव को ऐ मेरे गुलजार, अरे क्यों हाथ उठा उठा के पटकते हो बार बार, आंखें तो खोल दो के मेरा दिल है बेकरार, बेटा तुम्हारी माँ को तुम्हारा, बेटा तुम्हारी माँ को तुम्हारा, बहने खड़ी है दर पर तेरे इश्तियाक में, अकबर तुम्हारे माना जिएगी पुरा, अकबर तुम्हारे माना जिएगी पुरा। हजरत ये कहते थे कि चला खल्क से पिछ, हजरत ये कहते थे कि चला खल्क से, इतनी ज़बाहिली के खुदा हाफिज़ है, इतनी ज़बाहिली के खुदा हिचकी जो आई थाम लिया हाथ से जिगर, अंगड़ाई लेके रख दिया शह के कदम, अंगड़ाई लेके रख दिया शह के कदम, आबाद घर लुटा शह वाला के सामने, बेटे का दाम निकाल निकल गया बाबा के बेटे का दम, निकल गया बाबा के सामने।
Salawat. I request those of you who are sitting towards the back, please come a little forward. There's plenty of room on this side. Because I know it's Shab Ashura and we'll have faces that we have never seen for the rest of the year. They'll all be coming in. So please come to my right, so there's more room for those who follow us later on, inshallah. I'm very grateful and thankful to Mr. Mehdi. Rizvi, thank you so much for coming from Houston for this. All of us have the sentiments for Imam Hussain that we don't for our own relatives, for our own parents, for our own family. And that it shows exactly. Thank you very much. We appreciate that, inshallah. I want to inform you one thing, that tomorrow the temperature will be in the hundreds, like 103, 104, I'm told. So, and we'll be here tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. for Amal Ashura, followed by the local majalis. Those of you who are on the WhatsApp, it's very good. The list is there for tonight as well as for tomorrow. And if you do not have the WhatsApp, then you can follow any of these volunteers who will be going for those majalis tonight as well as tomorrow. So inshallah, be here at 9:30 a.m. tomorrow. So we'll have Amal Ashura, followed by the local majalis. And then we'll get back at 1 p.m. in the afternoon for Zuhrain Salat. After the Zuhrain, we'll have the Majlis, and then we'll have Fakha Shikani. And then in the evening, we'll have Maghribain Salat, followed by Sham-e Gharima, as usual. So I request you all to please do two things tomorrow. First of all, make sure you take care of yourself, stay hydrated, and look out for your neighbor, for your next door. There's some elderly people, so please make sure, I request all the young folks here to keep an eye on the elders. If they are just sitting there, make sure you bring them a glass of water, and if you see some response or no response, so please pay attention to that. Because of the fact of there'll be so many people here tomorrow, there'll be heat generated, and then there'll be matam going on. So respect for all that, respect your elders, and take care of your neighbors. It's very important to do that. I had announced earlier also for the donation for the upkeep of the programs here at this organization. I'll once again request you all to please contribute towards sponsoring a majlis. And if you're not sponsoring a majlis, simply go ahead and make a tabarruk, give your donation to this organization for the entire 2 months. So we have a very vibrant program from now, from the 1st of Muharram till the 8th of Rabiul Awwal. So you'll see that the program is on the website. It's also there are flyers outside. So please do come and do take part and play an active role in holding these functions, in holding these majalis. You will get equal sawab for that. It's very important. It's extremely important. On Saturday, 10th of August, the Imam Hussain Day, which has been going on for the last 40 years, will be held at Masjid Ali. So please be at 1 p.m. right after Zuhr Salat. So please do attend that also on Saturday, the 10th of August. The IMI's Arba'in mission is still on. I didn't mention that yesterday. I once again remind you all to please contribute towards the IMI's Arba'in mission as well as Al-Ain. These are the things that we do not get a chance to gather or to request you all or to even contribute. So you are very fortunate that you have these organizations who are giving you the reason to earn ajr in front of Allah. Because of them we can earn ajr. Because of that you can do all that. So please go ahead and do that. And with a loud salawat, let's welcome Sayyid to the member, inshallah. Salawat.
رحم الله من قرأ سورة الفاتحة. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله، والصلاة والسلام على إمام القبلتين ونبي الحرمين وأفضل الثقلين وجد الحسن والحسين، الذي سمي في السماء بأحمد وفي الأرض بأبي القاسم محمد. وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين الصادقين، والذين ذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. اللهم صل وسلم وزد وبارك على صاحب الدعوة النبوية والصولة الحيدرية والاسمة الفاطمية والحلم الحسنية والشجاعة الحسينية والعبادة السجادية والمآثر الباقرية والآثار الجعفرية والعلوم الكاذمية والحجج الردوية والجود الثقفية والنقاوة النقوية والهيبة العسكرية والغيبة الإلهية. اللهم عجل فرجه وسهل مخرجه. أما بعد، فقد قال الله في كتابه الكريم: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم: فمن حاجك فيه من بعد ما جاءك من العلم فقل تعالوا ندعو أبناءنا وأبناءكم ونساءنا ونساءكم وأنفسنا وأنفسكم ثم نبتهل فنجعل لعنة الله على الكاذبين. صدق الله العلي العظيم. For the love of Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam, sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. To give our condolences to Fatima al-Zahra upon this night of Shab Ashura, a second salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. The subject of analysis has been in front of you for 10 nights now. Imam al-Hussein, the Warith of Nabi Isa alayhim as-salam, as mentioned in Ziyaratul Waritha, Assalamu alayka ya Waritha Isa Ruhullah. We've examined what the Quran has said about the Prophet Isa. We have seen the links between that and Imam al-Hussein. We've examined that Isa was Ruhullah, that Allah gave him that ability to blow into a bird, that bird comes back to life. You find Imam al-Hussein is the one who breathed into the ummah of Rasulullah and brought this ummah back to life. We looked that Isa was given a loyal group of companions, but Isa said to his companions, Man ansari ilallah, that who will be my companions? He would invite his companions. But Imam al-Hussein was given companions that on a night like this, he would tell them to go, they would remain with Imam al-Hussein. We've looked at what the Quran has said about the followers of Isa, the Nasara. We have looked what the Quran has said about the Injil, the book which was sent to Isa. And indeed, tonight, as we go to the final of these main lectures, one of the most famous encounters in the history of Islam between Rasulullah and those groups who ascribe themselves to the Prophet Isa, the Nasara, the Christians, is the event of Mubahala, an event which was seen as so important in Islamic history that it is captured in the Quran in chapter 3, verses number 59 to 61. The summary of this event, it goes that after Rasulullah had gained control of the Arabian Peninsula, in the 9th year after Hijrah, you find that it was called Amul Wufud. That within this year, Rasulullah, he sends over 25 letters to the different communities, to the different leaders within and around the Arabian Peninsula. And amongst the letters which he had sent within that year were to the Christians of Najran. Within that letter, he says that in the name of Allah, the Lord of Ismail, the Lord of Ibrahim, the Lord of Isaac, and the Lord of Yaqub. And he says, I invite you to the worship of Allah and not the worship of the servants of Allah. And I invite you to the guardianship of Allah and not the guardianship of the servants of Allah. And if you do not believe in me, either you pay the tax, the jizya, or you find that we will make war against you. You see, there were many individuals who lived within the Islamic State who were not Muslims. And as a Muslim, the taxes that you paid were the zakat and the khums. And naturally, whenever you have a state and there are people who are living within that state, there is something which they need to pay. So they didn't subject the laws of Islam upon them and made them pay the zakat and the khums. You find there was another form of tax which was called the jizya. And in that regard, you find that those Christians of Najran, they sent a delegation to go and meet Rasulullah. This delegation, it goes into the mosque of the Prophet. You find that there is a group of them. One narration says that there was 14 of them who were sent over there. And when these individuals, they go to the mosque of Rasulullah, you find that there is silk, there's embroiderments of gold, there are ornaments of gold. And they get over there, they notice that Rasulullah doesn't pay any attention to them. So what they say is that we will wait for a while, and if the Prophet Muhammad still does not attend towards us, then we will go, we will leave the mosque. Rasulullah, he doesn't attend to them. So they leave the mosque, and as they leave the mosque, they run into Abdul Rahman ibn Auf and Uthman ibn Affan. And they said to these individuals that why is it that the Prophet Muhammad invited us, whom you call a prophet, yet he does not pay any attention towards us? So these individuals, they say that go and ask a man by the name of Ali ibn Abi Talib. When they go towards Amir al-Mu'mineen says to them, "O man, you have come over here, you are wearing silk, you are wearing gold. If you are the representatives of a religion, come with humility." That the humility of Rasulullah was at a level that as the leader of the Muslim society, he would dress in a way and sit in a way that when an outsider from Medina would come, he would come to Medina, he would say that which one of you is a Rasulullah? That this way in which you have of this gold, of this silk, it is not befitting of a leader of a religion to wear this. After that, you find that Imam al-Sadiq in Tafsir al-Qummi, he narrates the dialogue between these individuals and Rasulullah. When they come to Rasulullah, they say, "O Muhammad, what do you want us to believe?" The Prophet says, "I want you to believe that there is no God but Allah and that I am His messenger. And that the Prophet Jesus was a servant of Allah. He was created by Allah. He would eat food. And you find that he was a human being like other human beings." At that point, they replied to the Prophet by saying that how can we accept an individual who does not have a father to be like any other human being? At that point, the Imam says, the ayat of the Quran was revealed, chapter 3, verse 59, "Inna matala Isa indallah ka matali Adam khalaqahu min turab thumma qala lahu kun fayakun." That the example of Isa is like the example of Adam. Allah created Adam from dust and said to him, be, and he became. And you find that the Prophet says this is the reality of Isa as well. So he says that if you are not going to believe in this, then what we will do is we will engage in a mubahala, that we will pray against each other, and whomever is correct, you find that the azab and the punishment of Allah will come upon the opposite side. Over here, it's stated within the narration that these group of individuals, amongst the leader of them was an individual by the name of Al-Aqib. And the title of Al-Aqib was Abdul Masih. So they said to Abdul Masih that should we engage in a mubahala or should we not engage within this act? You find that this individual replies by saying that I have read in the scriptures that whenever anyone engaged in such an act with the Prophet of God, you find that they were destroyed and there was no traces of them that were left upon this earth. So what I advise you to do is to see in which manner does he come out upon the agreed upon place, a mubahala. So you find that when this group, they go, all of them, they go to the agreed place, and when Rasulullah comes upon that day, as you very well know, in his left hand is the hand of Imam al-Hasan. And in his right arm is Imam al-Hussein. Behind him is Fatima al-Zahra. Behind her is Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib. When Rasulullah comes in this manner, you find that Abdul Masih, he says one of the most famous lines in Islamic history. He says, Ya ma'shar al-Nasara, that, O Christians, إني لأرى وجوه لو سأل الله أن يزيل جبلا من مكانه أزاله بها فلا يباهلوهم. He says that by Allah, I see such faces that if they ask Allah to move a mountain from its place, that mountain will move. Thus, do not engage in the mubahala with them, and they agreed that they will pay the jizya. This was the summary of the incident of mubahala. Now, when you examine this incident, there are many important points that arise from it and from the ayat which are related to it. But one of the key points that connects with this series is that when we say Imam al-Hussein is the warith of Nabi Isa alayhi salam, you find that this was one incident where the wujud of Imam al-Hussein was used as a proof against the Nasara and the Christians. That over here, Rasulullah, he used the proof that I will bring my Ahlul Bayt with me, and if these individuals, they prayed against this group, the azab of Allah would come down upon them. Now when you examine these ayat, you find the verses in question which mention this incident are chapter 3 verses 59 to 61. The first of those verses, it says, as I quoted, that inna matala Isa indallah ka matali Adam khalaqahu min turab thumma qala lahu kun fayakun, that the example of Isa in the sight of Allah is like the example of Adam. Allah created him from dust. He said to him, be, and he became. And then after that he says, al-haqqu min rabbika, that what I have mentioned is the truth from your Lord. فَلَا تَكُنْ مِنَ الْمُمْتَرِينَ, do not be amongst those who doubt and waver. فَمَنْ حَاجَكَ فِيهِ مِنْ بَعْدِ مَا جَاءَكَ مِنَ الْعِلْمِ, and any one of them who argues with you, O Prophet, after knowledge has come to them, say to them that we will call our children, you will call your children, all the way until the end of the ayat. Now when we examine these verses, and the verse of Mubahala in particular, chapter 3 verse 61, the first interesting point about this verse is that the verse, it says, فَمَنْ حَاجَكَ فِيهِ مِنْ بَعْدِ مَا جَاءَكَ مِنَ الْعِلْمِ, that, O Rasulullah, these individuals, they have already been given a knowledge that you have given towards them, O Rasulullah. You see, this knowledge that this ayat is referring to is not referring only to the fact that the Quranic verse has been sent down as a proof against them, but it is referring to the fact that a rational argument was used against the Christians as well. And that rational argument was a proof and a hujjah. And that argument, it stated that if you say that Isa is Ibnullah because he did not have a father, then Adam was not created from a father as well. And the first lesson that we see from this ayat is a very important lesson. And that is the question of whether rationality and aql has a place in understanding the deen. You see, on one side, we have certain traditions that'll imply that rationality doesn't have a place. For example, there's a very famous tradition of Imam Zainul Abidin salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi. And in that tradition, the Imam says, Inna deen Allah la yusabu bil uqul al-nakisa wal ara al-batila wal maqayis al-fasida. He says that indeed the religion of Allah will not be understood by the deficient intellects, by your invalid analogies. These are not the way to understand the religion of Allah. And then he says, وَلَا يُصَابُ إِلَّا بِالتَّسْلِيمِ. The only way you can understand the religion of Allah is if you submit to it. Now over here on one side, you find that it's saying that the aql has a limited role. And submission is the way to go. But then on the other side, we see narration after narration which praises the aql within the school of Ahlul Bayt. That Rasulullah says, أَوَّلُ مَا خَلَقَ اللَّهُ الْأَقْلِ. That the first thing that Allah created was the intellect. Imam As-Sadiq says, Man kana aqilan kana lahu deen. That individual who has aql has a religion. You see, when you look in the Quran, it's very important to examine in the Quran in what context are the ayat about intellect being used within the Quran. When you examine these ayat about the intellect in the Quran, they say, O human being, reflect upon the creation of the world. Reflect on these natural realities. In other words, the summary is that the role of intellect is a profound role when it comes to aqaid. Many things in aqaid you establish through the aql and the intellect. For example, if I said to you that how do you know Rasulullah is a messenger? You cannot just say that the Quran says he is a messenger. Rationally, you have to establish the wujud of Allah and that the Quran is the book of Allah. Then you use the Quran. And in this regard, when we look at the Quran uses rational arguments time and time again. For example, one rational argument is found in chapter 21, Surah Al-Anbiya, verse 22. Over there it says, لَوْ كَانَ فِيهِمَا آلِهَةٌ إِلَّا اللَّهُ لَفَسَدَتَا. That if upon the heavens and the earth there was a God besides Allah, there would be fasad, there would be corruption. Over here it is saying, O human being, use your aql and your intellect. If you see that there is harmony within the system of the world, this is pointing to the fact that there is one creator. You find this is one example. Another ayat of the Quran is chapter 4, Surah An-Nisa, verse 82. Over there it says, أَفَلَا يَتَدَبَّرُونَ الْقُرْآنَ. That does mankind not ponder over this Quran? وَلَوْ كَانَ مِنْ عِنْدِ غَيْرِ اللَّهِ لَوَجَدُوا فِيهِ اخْتِلَافًا كَثِيرًا. That if this Quran was from other than Allah, there would be much ikhtilaf within this Quran. So over here, Allah is using a rational argument to prove the Quran. That, O human being, if you say this is not the book of Allah, use your aql and examine that how is it that a book which was revealed over a period of 23 years unto one man has no contradiction. You find after that another example, Surah Al-Waqi'ah, verses 83 to 87. Over there Allah says, وَلَوْلَا, he says over there, فَلَوْلَا إِذَا بَلَغَتِ الْحُلْقُومِ. When that moment it comes, when the soul of mankind, it reaches the throat of a human being. وَأَنْتُمْ حِينَئِذٍ تَنْظُرُونَ. And at that moment you are watching that dying person. وَنَحْنُ أَقْرَبُ إِلَيْهِ مِنْكُمْ وَلَكِنْ لَا تُبْصِرُونَ. The reality is that we are closer to him than you are. وَلَوْلَا إِن كُنْتُمْ غَيْرَ مَدِينِينَ تَرْجِعُونَهَا إِن كُنْتُمْ صَادِقِينَ. If you are not bound by the laws of this world, then do one simple act, bring the soul back into the body after that person has passed away. Medical science in the world today has solved diseases that just 40, 50 years ago, people would die of polio. People would die of things that are considered very small and treatable in today's world. But you find there's no doctor who claims that once a person is dead, we can bring him back to life. And the Quran is saying in that regard, that when you look, once the soul has left the body, if you are not constrained, then bring it back. In other words, it is showing you, O human being, your ability is limited compared to the ability of Allah. This is one example. Now, the second example that you look is that when you look at the lives of the Anbiya alayhimus salam, the Anbiya use rational arguments as well. They didn't just say that I am the prophet of Allah, I am in authority and listen to me. But rather they explain this reality to people. One example is chapter 2, verse 285. And it says, Alam tara ila alladhi haja Ibrahim fi rabbihi an atahu Allahul mulk. That have you not seen that individual who argued with Ibrahim on the basis that Allah gave him a kingdom, referring towards Nimrud. إِذْ قَالَ Ibrahim said to that man, Rabbi alladhi yuhyi wa yumit. That my Lord is the one who gives life and he gives death. So that man, he says, Ana uhyi wa umit. That I give life, I give death. The hadith they mention at that moment, there were two individuals in front of Nimrud. So Nimrud said to one of them that I order for you to be executed. And I order for you to go and be saved. And in that manner, I've given life to one and I've given death to one. So Ibrahim, even then, he doesn't argue by authority. He gives one more rational argument. قال إبراهيم فإن الله يأتي بالشمس من المشرق فأتي بها من المغرب. That you say that, okay, you give life and death. My Lord is the one who brings the sun out from the east. You bring it out from the west. You find in this manner, Ibrahim uses a rational argument. A second rational argument which Ibrahim would use within the Quran is that when the people of the town, they leave, he goes to the idol temple, he destroys all of the idols except the largest one. When they come back, they say to Ibrahim, أَفَأَلْتَ هَذَا بِآلِهَتِنَا يَا Ibrahim. That, oh Ibrahim, are you the one who did this towards our Lord? Ibrahim, he says, بَلْ فَعَلَهُ كَبِيرُهُمْ هَذَا فَاسْأَلُوهُمْ إِنْ كَانُوا يَنْتِقُونَ. But rather, it was the largest idol who destroyed the rest. And go and ask the largest one if it is able to speak. Over here, the Quran, it shows the power of rationality. It describes the state of the people when they heard the reply. And it says, فَرَجَعُوا إِلَىٰ أَنفُسِهِمْ. That they returned to themselves. That sometimes an answer which makes sense allows a person to leave from the state of ghafla. There was a very famous munadir within Pakistan by the name of Ismail Deobandi. And this individual, he would engage in many debates about the wilayah of Ahlul Bayt. In one of those debates, there was a man, he says that when I would give a hadith, he would give a hadith. And when I would answer from the Quran, he would answer from the Quran. At one point, he became frustrated. So what he did is that he took my pen, he threw it on the ground, and he said that you believe in tawassul and istighatha, say Ya Ali Madad for your pen to come back. Ismail Deobandi says, Quran, I answered with Quran. Hadith, I answered with Hadith. Over here, how do I answer this man in a way that will make sense to him? So what he does is he takes the staff of that man and he throws it upon the ground. And he says, you told me, say Ya Ali Madad for it to come back. I say to you, say Ya Allah Madad. In other words, he demonstrated the lesson that things within this world, they work through asbab, they work through cause and effect. And you find in the same regard, Ahlul Bayt would use rational arguments as well. And one of the most famous instances is after the Battle of Siffin. On the day of Siffin, it was very well known that Rasulullah has a hadith that where he says, Al-Ammar taqtuluhu fi'atun baghiya. That a rebellious and an oppressive group will kill Ammar ibn Yasir. So on that day, Ammar ibn Yasir dies upon the side of Amir al-Mu'mineen. So Muawiyah began to say that, look, Ali is the one who was killed Ammar because Ammar was fighting upon the side of Ali, and the hadith says that an oppressive group will kill Ammar, thus Ali is part of that rebellious group. Amir al-Mu'mineen, when he replies, he shows that what power the aql of a human being can contain. He doesn't reply by saying that on the day of Ghadir, I was made the wali of the believers, and I am the individual who is the rightful Khalifa. He gives a rational argument and he says that go and tell Muawiyah that if I am the killer of Ammar because Ammar was fighting on my side, then Rasulullah was the killer of Hamza on the day of Uhud. Because Hamza came to fight on the side of Rasulullah. And in that regard, Ammar ibn Yasir was fighting upon my side. And in this regard, when we come to this ayat of Mubahala, the first thing that this ayat demonstrates, فَمَنْ حَاجَكَ فِيهِ مِنْ بَعْدِ مَا جَاءَكَ مِنَ الْعِلْمِ, that before any other step, the first proof against that group was the aql and the intellect. And Rasulullah, he gave arguments in that form. Now the second level, the ayat it comes to, it says, O Prophet, if they do not accept this argument which is based on ilm, فَقُلْ, say to them, تَعَالَوْ نَدْعُوا أَبْنَاءَنَا وَأَبْنَاءَكُمْ وَنِسَاءَنَا وَنِسَاءَكُمْ وَأَنفُسَنَا وَأَنفُسَكُمْ, that you call your children, we'll call our children. You call your women, we will call our women. You call yourselves, we will call ourselves. You know, over here there's one question. And that question is this, is that the word says abna, it says sons. Hassan and Hussein, are they the sons of Rasulullah or are they the grandchildren of Rasulullah? Because if we look based upon biology, they're the grandchildren of Rasulullah. In this regard, one answer can be based upon the Arabic language that the word abna includes sons and grandchildren. One answer can be based upon the fact that these individuals Rasulullah treated like his own sons. And in this regard, Ahlul Bayt would use this ayat as an argument that we are the lineage of Rasulullah. You know, in the time of Imam Musa al-Kadhim, salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi, Harun al-Rashid, he says to Musa al-Kadhim that why do you say you are the offsprings of Rasulullah? At the end of the day, the lineage goes through the son. You are the sons of the daughter. You find that the first reply that Imam al-Kadhim gives to Harun al-Rashid is that have you read the verse of the Quran which mentions the Anbiya? It mentions Ibrahim and Ismail and Isaac and Yaqub. And then it says, ذُرِّيَّةٌ بَعْدُهُمْ مِنْ بَعْدُ, one lineage after another. And then it mentions Zakaria and Yahya and Isa. Is Isa related to these Anbiya through his father or through his mother? Isa doesn't have a father. At that moment he says he has to be related through the mother. But the second thing the Imam says is that the ayat, it says, Abna'ana wa abna'akum, Hassan and Hussein were there, we are from that lineage. And in this regard, there's one incident in history that one of the servants of Muawiyah by the name of Dakwan, he says, Muawiyah says to him that, oh man, what do the people say about Hassan and Hussein? To which Dakwan, he replies by saying, they say that they are the sons of Rasulullah. He says that how are they the sons of Rasulullah? They are the grandchildren of Rasulullah. Dakwan says later within that time, Muawiyah, he says that, oh my servant, go and give gifts towards my children. That individual, he gives the gifts to the direct offspring of Muawiyah, doesn't give it to the grandchildren of Muawiyah. And he doesn't give it to the sons of the daughter of Muawiyah. At that point, Muawiyah calls him. He says that, oh man, why did you not give it to the sons of my daughter? That man says, oh Muawiyah, I am surprised that when it comes to the sons of your daughter, you are worried that why didn't I include them within your order? But when it comes to the sons of Rasulullah, Hassan and Hussein, you don't want to include them in the lineage of Rasulullah. And in that regard, you find this ayat that points to that reality. The final aspect of this ayat that we'll examine is it comes to the final line and it says, call your sons, we will call our sons, you call your women, we will call our women. And then it says that call yourselves and we will call ourselves. And of course, in the place of self was Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib. You see, there's a famous hadith of Rasulullah, and it's been ascribed to Amir al-Mu'mineen as well, where the Prophet says, Man arafa nafsahu faqad arafa rabba. That the one who recognizes himself has recognized his Lord. You know, at one level of this tradition is that, oh human being, if you reflect over your abilities, you're limited in your abilities. You didn't choose when you were born. You will leave this world in a manner which is generally outside of your control. There are many happenings in your life that you do not control. If you have this realization of your inherent limitations, at that moment you'll recognize that there is a Rabb and a nurturer who is managing your affairs. And this is why Amir al-Mu'mineen, when they said to him, Ya Ali, how did you recognize your Lord? He says, Araftu Rabbi bifasq al-azaim. That I recognized my Lord at that moment when there was something that I intended to do, but I was not able to carry it out. And in that regard, he points to that reality. So the nafs is seen as a mechanism whereas one recognizes their Lord. I say that if recognizing and understanding your nafs allows you to understand Allah, then what about that man who was the nafs of Rasulullah on the day of Mubahala? That what makan and what status must it be to understand that individual? After that, you find that Rasulullah, he turns to his Ahlul Bayt when this ayat is mentioned, and he says, إِذَا دَعَوْتُ فَأَمِّنُوا, that when I make dua, you say Ameen. You see, the final question before I come towards Musibah is the question, that does Rasulullah need anyone to say Ameen towards his dua? Rasulullah is that individual that when he makes dua, you find the duas of Rasulullah accepted. But on the day of Mubahala, he says to his Ahlul Bayt, you say Ameen to my dua. In other words, he is giving the lesson towards his ummah, I, Rasulullah, need no wasila towards Allah. But if there is a wasila that I am using, then that wasila are these 5 individuals. And these individuals in my ummah, use them as your wasila. You see, this verse on Mubahala was even quoted by Imam al-Hussein on the day of Ashura. That Imam al-Hussein would speak to them and he would say that, do you not know that I am the son of the daughter of your prophet? Do you not know that I am that individual that the verse of Tathiru came down for me? That the verse of Mubahala was in regards towards me. But despite that fact, you find that they did what they did on the day of Ashura. You see, tonight is the night of Shab Ashur. This night, Imam al-Hussein requested this night. That when Shimar, he comes to Karbala, Shimar, he gathers the army and they approach the tents of Imam al-Hussein upon this night. Imam al-Hussein says, O Abbas, go and see what Shimar wants. Shimar says, O Abbas, you are from my relatives. I am offering you security, O Abbas. Aba Fadl Abbas says that you're offering me security, but the grandson of Rasulullah is here. Shimar says that we're ready to begin this battle. Aba Fadl Abbas, he tells Imam al-Hussein. Imam al-Hussein says, Ya Abbas, irja ilayhim, return towards them. فَإِنِ اسْتَطَعْتَ فَأُؤْتُأَخِّرَهُم. And if you're able to, then delay them for one night. Because upon this night, I want to pray towards Allah. And Allah, He knows that I love salat. And I love dua. And I love istighfar. You see, this night, Imam al-Hussein, he split this night into 3 sections. One night, one section was for the ibadat of Allah. One section was for his Ahlul Bayt. And one section of this night was for his ashab. You know, on a night like this, each of the women would speak towards their children. That Layla would speak to Ali Akbar, and Farwa would speak to Qasim, and Sayyida Zainab would speak to On and Muhammad, and she would say, "O On, O Muhammad, that I know that you are the grandchildren of Jafar al-Tayyar, and I know that you are the grandchildren of Haydar al-Karrar. I know tomorrow that you'll reach the Furat, but when you reach the Furat, don't drink from the Furat unless Sakina and Ali Asghar have drank from the Furat." You see, after that, as each of the women are speaking towards their children, Rabab is holding a 6-month infant. Imam al-Hussein sees a Rabab with Ali Asghar. But then after that, Imam al-Hussein is going by the tents. He sees that there is one woman who was crying upon that night. And that was the sister of Imam al-Hussein, Kulthum, that she would say that there is no one to be my sacrifice tomorrow in the path of Hussein. And that moment, Aba Fadl Abbas, he would go and he would say, "Oh Bibi, I'll be that shaheed on your behalf." You see, this night was such a night that as the end of this night was approaching, Sayyida Zainab says, "Oh Hussein, have you tested your companions? Do you know whether these companions will be loyal?" It's stated that Habib ibn Madahir, he heard this line of Sayyida Zainab. He says, "Oh Ashab al-Hussein, oh companions of Hussein, let us go outside of the tent of Zainab." You find that upon this night, all of the companions, they gather outside of the tent of Sayyida Zainab, and within their hands were their swords, and they said, "O daughter of Ali ibn Abi Talib, if you tell us, we'll cut our necks at this moment." You see, as this night was finishing, Imam al-Hussein, he ordered the companions that make sure that you arrange your tents on the outside, that make sure the tents of the women are in the middle. Then after that, they dig a trench, and within that khandak, they put firewood. They light a fire. They say, "Oh Hussein, why is it that you want us to do this?" Imam al-Hussein, he says that I don't want these people to attack from the backside. That as long as we're alive, the only direction they should come is from the front of us. You know, that moment it comes, Ali Akbar, he gives the adhan on the day of Ashura. Imam al-Hussein, he begins that day after that adhan, after salat. He raises his hand and he says, "Allahumma anta thiqati fi kulli karb, wa anta raja'i fi kulli shidda." That, "Oh Allah, in every difficulty I rely upon you, O Allah." At that moment, he gives a khutbah. He begins to address the army of Umar ibn Saad, that he says, "Do you not know that I am the son of the daughter of Rasulullah? Do you not know that you are those individuals who invited me? You had sent your letters towards me." You find after that sermon, the first arrows were fired towards the side of Imam al-Hussein. You know, when those first arrows were fired, it stated that a number of individuals had become shaheed. Then after that, you find that one by one, the ashab of Imam al-Hussein would go. Habib ibn Madahir, Muslim ibn Awsaja, Hur, all of them would go. After that, the turn of Banu Hashim it comes. And when the turn of Banu Hashim it comes, the first to go was Ali Akbar on the day of Ashura. But as all of the shuhada are being martyred, each of them gave their lives so Hussein would remain. But then that moment it comes when Imam al-Hussein is alone on the day of Ashura. That Imam al-Hussein, he stands there with his 6-month infant within his arms. He takes 7 steps forward. He takes 7 steps backwards. And he says, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. After that, which musibat it begins. After that, Allam al-Majlis, he says, the most difficult moment in the tariq of Ahlul Bayt it begins. And what is that difficult moment? That was the final farewell of Imam al-Hussein on the day of Ashura. That when Imam al-Hussein, he returns towards the tents, he says, Ya Sakina, Ya Zainab, Ya Kulthum, Ya Ruqayya, alaykunna minni salam. That I am giving my final salam towards you. Then after that, Imam al-Hussein, he looks towards Fizza. And he says, Ya Fidda itini bitobin la yarghabu fihi. That bring me a cloth which no one would want. Imam al-Hussein, he takes that kurta, and it's stated in the Maqtal, فَخَرَقَهُ, he begins to rip that piece of cloth. They say, Oh Hussein, why are you ripping the shirt? At that point, the Imam says that after I have been killed, they'll begin to loot my body. Perhaps if the shirt is ripped, they won't take the shirt off my body. Then after that, Imam al-Hussein, he goes to the tent of Imam Zainul Abidin. When Imam Zainul Abidin sees his father, I don't know in what state Imam al-Hussein was in. Perhaps his back was bent after the shahadat of Abbas. Perhaps on his beard was the blood of Ali Asghar. Perhaps on his shirt was the blood of Ali Akbar. When Imam Zainul Abidin sees his father, he says, Aina Ammi al-Abbas, that, oh Baba, where is my Chacha Abbas? Imam al-Hussein says, Sajjad, Qad qutila, your uncle has been killed. After that, Imam Zainul Abidin, he says, Aina Akhi Aliyun al-Akbar. That, oh Baba, where is my brother Ali Akbar? The Imam says, oh Sajjad, Qad qutila, that Akbar has been killed. He says, oh Zainul Abidin, either it is me from amongst the men or it is you from amongst the men. After that moment it came where the Imam, he remembered each of you on the day of Ashura. And he says, Shi'ati mahma sharibtum adba ma'in fadkuruni. That, oh my Shia, whenever you drink cold water, remember me. Oh sami'tum bi gharibin aw shahidin fandubuni. And whenever you hear of a shaheed, of somebody who is gharib and alone, remember me. And then he says, Ana الذي من غير جرم قتلوني. That I am that grandson of Rasulullah, that for no wrongdoing they'll kill me. Then after that he says, ليتكم في يوم عاشوراء جميعا تنظروني. He says, I wish all of you were there on the day of Ashura. And why does he wish that all of you were there? He says, كيف أستسقي لطفلي فأبوي يرحموني. I wish you saw that moment when I was asking for water for my infant. Instead of water, they fired an arrow towards Ali Asghar. There was one line from the Masaib of Ali Asghar which I left for this night. You know, it's stated when Imam al-Hussein went with Ali Asghar, he held Ali Asghar within his arms, and he spoke to the army of Umar bin Saad, and he says to them that if I had done anything wrong, then this child is masoom. At that point, Umar bin Saad, he looks at his army and he says, Ikta kalam al-Hussein, that stop the words of Hussein. Hurmala, he picks up the arrow, he puts the arrow back down, he picks it up again. They say, oh Hurmala, that why are you not firing this arrow? He says, oh man, do you not see what I see? Every time I want to fire that arrow, I see a lady. She says that this child, my son, is masoom. Ala la'natullah lil-qawm al-zalimin. سيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون. ماتم حسين.
Hayya ala khairil amal, 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 hayya ala khairil amal. Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein. हुसैन या हुसैन ये किसका घर लुटा है खुदा रा जवाब दो ये किसका घर लुटा है खुदा रा जवाब दो ये किसका घर लुटा है खुदा जवाब दो ये किसका घर लुटा है खुदा रा जवाब दो ये किसका घर लुटा है खुदा रा जवाब दो ये किसका घर लुटा है खुदा रा जवाब दो किसका हुसैन किस की है ज़हरा जवाब दो किसका हुसैन किस की है ज़हरा जवाब दो ये किसका घर लुटा है खुदा रा जवाब दो ये किसका घर लुटा है खुदा रा जवाब दो ये किसका घर लुटा है खुदा रा जवाब दो किसका हुसैन किस की है ज़हरा जवाब दो किसका हुसैन किस की है ज़हरा जवाब दो ये किसका घर लुटा है खुदा रा जवाब दो ये किसका घर लुटा है खुदा रा जवाब दो क्यों खून रो रहा है बेटा हुसैन का क्यों खून रो रहा है बेटा हुसैन का किस
किसका हुसैन किस की है ज़हरा जवाब दो, किसका हुसैन किस की है ज़हरा जवाब दो, ये किसका घर लुटा ये किसका घर लुटा है खुदा रा जवाब दो, ये किसका घर लुटा है खुदा रा जवाब दो, ये किसका घर लुटा है खुदा रा जवाब दो, क्यों खून रो रहा है बेटा हुसैन का, क्यों खून रो रहा है बेटा हुसैन का, किसका हुसैन किस की है ज़हरा जवाब दो, किसका हुसैन किस की है ज़हरा जवाब दो, ये किसका घर लुटा है खुदा रा जवाब दो, ये किसका घर लुटा है खुदा रा जवाब दो, ये किसका घर लुटा है खुदा रा जवाब दो, ये किसका घर लुटा है खुदा रा जवाब दो, ये किसका घर लुटा है खुदा रा जवाब दो, ये किसका घर लुटा है खुदा रा जवाब दो, कुबरा का ताज लूटा मुसलमानों ने मिलकर, कुबरा का ताज लूटा मुसलमानों ने मिलकर, ज़ैनब का बुर्का किस ने उतारा जवाब दो, ज़ैनब का बुर्का किस ने उतारा जवाब दो, ये किसका घर लुटा है खुदा रा जवाब दो, ये किसका घर लुटा है खुदा रा जवाब दो, ये किसका घर लुटा है खुदा रा जवाब दो, ये किसका घर लुटा है खुदा रा जवाब दो, ये किसका घर लुटा है खुदा रा जवाब दो, कुबरा का ताज लूटा मुसलमानों ने मिलकर, कुबरा का ताज लूटा मुसलमानों ने मिलकर, ज़ैनब का बुर्का किस ने उतारा जवाब दो, ज़ैनब का बुर्का किस ने उतारा जवाब दो, ये किसका घर लुटा है खुदा रा जवाब दो, ये किसका घर लुटा है खुदा रा जवाब दो, ये किसका घर लुटा है खुदा रा जवाब दो, ये किसका घर लुटा है खुदा रा जवाब दो, अर्शे नबी की आल क्यों प्यासी ही चल बसी, अर्शे नबी की आल क्यों प्यासी ही चल बसी, आबाद था नहर का किनारा जवाब दो, आबाद था नहर का किनारा जवाब दो, ये किसका घर लुटा है खुदा रा जवाब दो, ये किसका घर लुटा है खुदा रा जवाब दो, किसका हुसैन किस की है ज़हरा जवाब दो, ये
किसका घर लुटा है खुदा रा जवाब दो या हुसैन या हुसैन या हुसैन या हुसैन या हुसैन या हुसैन
या हुसैन या हुसैन या हुसैन या हुसैन या हुसैन या हुसैन हैया अला खैरुल अमल हैया अला खैरुल अमल हैया अला या अला या हुसैन या हुसैन या हुसैन जग होई मंशा खालिक गी करबल नु अर्श बनावा लिखे बागो नाम बहक दांगे लिखे बागो नाम बहक दांगे रब लिखिया पहले मावा मावा करबला गिया मावा मावा करबला गिया मावा 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 करबला गिया पुकरांगी अलाशा गे कुकरे रया रब लई आगे बिखशरावा मावा करबला गिया मावा मावा सब्र के मालिक हूँ शहर लैला के इश्क गे में के मैं सब्र की सांझ की अकबर गे सीने चो सांग खकावा हाँ करबला आंखें माँ काशिमगी माँ के एहसान करी तेरे कहीं लरे गारवी तेरे कुकरे मुताबिक पगनिया ने मेरे वीर हुसैन की शाबा मावा करबला गिया मावा माँ वैन कुलशूम गाशी लाल मंग के हाजी तेनू मैं पाले अशी मेरे शारगी खा गए हाय भी लग गई जग लगियां तेरिया बावा मावा करबला गिया मावा सांग के अशगर नू वेख के आ तेरा बाप देगा कैगी होवा श्री सांग के केरा लावंग लई मैं गैर कगी ना लावा मावा हाय शिमर गए खंजर गए वार जगरा रोके नाले शैन कवे मैं शकियाँ पीस के मावा मावा करबला गिया मावा मावा या हुसैन
सारल्ला या सारातुल हुसैन या शहीदो या मजलूम 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 धूप में तेरा लाशा है पड़ा या शहीदो या मजलूम सारल्ला या सारातुल हुसैन या शहीदो या मजलूम सारल्ला या सारातुल हुसैन या शहीदो या मजलूम सारल्ला या सारातुल हुसैन या शहीदो या मजलूम तू जिधर है उस तरफ हक की राह या हुसैन मिल गई काबे को सजदेगा या हुसैन मिल गई काबे को सजदेगा सर चोनेज़े पर उठा है तेरा या शहीदो या मजलूम सारल्ला या सारातुल हुसैन या शहीदो या मजलूम सारल्ला या सारातुल हुसैन या शहीदो या मजलूम सारल्ला या सारातुल हुसैन या शहीदो या मजलूम तू जिधर है उस तरफ हक की राह या हुसैन मिल गई काबे को सजदेगा या हुसैन मिल गई काबे को सजदेगा सर चोनेज़े पर उठा है तेरा या शहीदो या मजलूम सारल्ला या सारातुल हुसैन 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 या शहीदो या मजलूम आएंगे जिस दिन इमाम ज़मा या हुसैन लेके अब्बास जरी का निशान या हुसैन लेके अब्बास जरी का निशान और लबों पर होगी ये सदा या शहीदो या मजलूम सारल्ला या सारातुल हुसैन 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 या शहीदो या मजलूम आएंगे जिस दिन इमाम ज़मा या हुसैन लेके अब्बास जरी का निशान या हुसैन लेके अब्बास जरी का निशान और लबों पर होगी ये सदा या शहीदो या मजलूम सारल्ला या सारातुल हुसैन या शहीदो या मजलूम सारा अल्लाह
शहीद करबला शहीद करबला अब्बास वावेला सकीना वावेला अकबर वावेला कासिम वावेला असगर वावेला ज़रा वावेला
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد السلام عليك يا محمد بن عبد الله السلام عليك يا صفة الله السلام عليك يا حبيب الله السلام عليك يا محمد المصطفى السلام عليك يا باعث الهدى ورحمة الله وبركاته السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله الحسين وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار ولا جعل الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين خصوصا سيدي مولاي أبو الفضل العباس باب الحوائج باب المراد جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته السلام عليك يا غريب الغرباء السلام عليك يا معين الضعفاء والفقراء السلام عليك يا مغيث الشيعة والزوار في يوم الجزاء السلام عليك يا أنيس النفوس أيها المدفون بأرض طوس السلام عليك يا سلطان عرب والعجم يا علي بن موسى الرضا الراضي بالقدر والقضاء السلام عليكم على آبائك سبعتي وابنائك الأربعة السلام عليك على أختك المعصومة ورحمة الله وبركاته السلام عليك يا إمام صاحب العصر والزمان السلام عليك يا خليفة الرحمن مظهر الإيمان إمام الإنس والجان السلام عليك يا شريك القرآن السلام عليك يا إمام الإنس والجان سيدي أجل الله تعالى فرجك وسأل الله تعالى مخرجك وزهورك وجعلنا من أعوانك وأنصارك ورحمة الله وبركاته اللهم صل على محمد وأجل فرجه الرحمن الرحيم اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين